So our first question is, what is your opinion on the potholes in the Panther Valley Junior Senior High School parking lot?
Well, I don't like them.
Well, obviously.
I don't think anyone does, my opinion. I wish they'd get fixed.
Yeah, when the buses are going around,
Mm-hmm.
most of the time I slam my head against the window.
Oh,
And I am concerned for other people that are on the different buses.
mm-hmm.
Because, like, if they have earrings in, it can, like, go through the
Sure, they
skin.
get hurt, absolutely.
Our second question is, how do you plan to fix it?
Well, I don't, there is a buildings and grounds supervisor, Mr. Krynak.
Yeah.
That issue has been discussed many, many times
But,
with our school board. In order for that to be taken care of, that has to, of course, be budgeted and funded through our school board, and then the corrections would be made. So that doesn't fall to a building principal. That falls to the buildings and grounds
Yeah.
people. I would hope, though, like everyone else who uses the parking lots, that it would get fixed quickly.
you said something about funding. Would there be, like, a fundraiser or, like, this whole...
No, that's paid for through tax dollars. That's part of the school budget. So if you're going to do any maintenance to the buildings, there is an annual budget that the school district is required to pass. So within that budget, parts of it are for facilities. So your facilities, your grounds, and the upkeep of those things. So to do that, to fix those parking lots is rather expensive. So I think they have some discussions about it. I don't know what their plans are, though.
So for taxes, would that be a community thing for the whole...
Yeah, your parents
Whole
pay
region?
taxes every year.
But is that for the parents that have kids in the school, or is it just
Everybody.
completely?
If you own a home and within the school district, you're assessed taxes every year.
Okay.
So they have to pay school taxes as well as city and county taxes as well.
Our next question is one from Josh. His question is, are you planning to fix the air dryers in the high school boys' bathroom?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, they were looking to replace some of them with hand towel dispensers, but they become a real problem because hand towels wind up getting stuffed in urinals
Yeah.
and toilets and wadded up paper and thrown. So I have asked for for hand dryers instead of hand towels, but they do need to be repaired, and they stay on top of that.
Alright, I just got a question. There's 9 questions on here, we have 10. So my additional question right now is the recycling, because
Mhm.
when the recycling kids come around and get the recycling bins, they throw it in the normal garbage dumpster instead of, like, do we have a recycling dumpster?
Well, the recycling club started, it was the county that started that, and we used to get, the county used to drop off a particular dumpster or a unit
Yeah.
for the recycling materials. The county no longer does that.
How come?
So now, I don't know, maybe they lost funding, I don't know. But what we do, we try to recycle. Now, our custodians, whatever they provide our kids will put the recycling materials wherever they're instructed to. So that's how that works. But the original recycling club, it was something that was the school district did in conjunction with the Carbon County recycling. So I'm not sure if Carbon County lost funding for it or not, but it's not what it once was.
Because then the recycling club would just have an excuse to get out of classes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, we do want people recycling, though. We
That's
do.
what we still do.
Well, right, and I think.
There's no point if there's no recycling.
Oh, you're right. There is no point if there's not going to be separate receptacles, or if somebody's going to, you know, come out with it where they are going to take the materials that have been brought to recycling to recycle them. But where we're at right now, we'll just follow the directions of the people that give us the directions to do it.
Alright. Our next question is one of mine. Why didn't we practice drills during winter? Because there's more than fire drills in lockdown.
Well, we do, I think we should have more fire drills. Our problem is the number of delays and weather cancellations.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get into the regular routine, and then conduct drills when you're constantly dealing with interruptions. But
Exactly.
what we have increased are the number of bus drills where we are getting students coming to the back of the gymnasium and we're doing searches off buses. So
Yeah.
that's increased to like one a week. So that's something that over the years we never had those. So we've actually increased safety efforts in our building. I would like to do more of the fire drills though than we were able to do.
What about the weather drills? Because I heard that hurricanes are going to start going more inland.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Tornadoes are
we
going
do
towards
one
coast.
weather drill per year, and most of the time, that's also a county-wide drill.
Yeah.
Now, for the last 2 years, Carbon County Emergency Management Services, they're the ones that coordinate that. They have, they've not done it as diligently as they used to. So most of the time that's done in March, which is already passed, and or April. So it just turned April, so we'll see if we're instructed to do an emergency weather drill.
Alright.
They're always good to do anyway.
Yeah. In Miss Santee's classroom, there is a water leakage.
Okay.
Is there any possible way that it would be fixed?
Well, if there is a leak somewhere, again, you're talking about a facilities issue.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Krynak, those things are reported, and then he has to look at that leak, where it's coming from, and what to do to fix it. So I'm sure if there's something like that that's been reported, and I don't know what their plan though is to fix that. I don't know that.
What rules will you lay down on both high school and juniors, grades 7 and 8, to improve the school's rep and morale?
To improve the school's reputation
Yes.
and morale, I think that's up to all of us to, I think, to improve our school's reputation. I think you get a reputation on a lot of different fronts.
Yeah.
You get an academic reputation, and I think that's a challenge to our students and teachers to always improve the test scores. They seem to be the things that get the most attention.
Yeah.
But many, many good things go on in this school, and I think you know that.
A lot of good things go on.
Wonderful things go on. I mean, here I'm meeting with 2 kids that are conducting an interview, and these are things that, no, these are the good things that go on, but there's no test for this.
There's no test.
And there's not necessarily any measure of anyone out there in the community seeing this. But they're good things that happen in school, and they happen every day. And they happen in different classrooms at different times. Again, our reputation when our kids are competing and they're out in athletic events, and how our fans behave, and how our players conduct themselves, and how their coaches conduct themselves, I think they're also things that contribute to the school's reputation. And I'm really proud of our kids when we go out and do things. But if you have, for example, last year we had a basketball playoff game where there was the decision of 1 or 2 kids, but that affects the whole reputation of the school.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that, we all have a part in that. And I could create whatever kind of rules that, you could create. That doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be adhered to, followed, and then it will happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of disagreements that happen in this school,
And every
just-
school.
in every school. And my main idea for it is because there's the juniors that say dress code. They have a more strict dress code than the high school kids because every high school kid has the same excuse. They don't care about dress code. The teachers don't care. They just do whatever.
Well, I think it's what I've talked about this before, and I think it was in the student newspaper. It's a difficult policy to enforce when you don't have people to do things like an ISS room where you can staff that every day. And when kids come in the door, if they're out of dress code, they have to go there. When you're not able to enforce things and teachers know that there's not those places, they tend to, well, why would I write that up if that can't be addressed? And I understand that can be very frustrating. And then I think that's also very frustrating to kids that do comply when they see others that are so blatantly not following it. And it's disappointing, and it's not anything that anyone likes. We do have a dressing room and policy for a reason. It's safety, it's modesty, it's cleanliness. They're all the reasons that you have them. If you have people dressing, I don't think it's so difficult to wear a collared shirt, and it's written very, very plainly that they don't care if your collar is blue, they don't care if your collar is but you have to have a collared shirt. And so often you see, students that are walking in now with t-shirts.
Crop tops.
Yeah, whatever, they're not the things, or kids that are even wearing maybe a nice sweater, but there's not a collar underneath it. And I think that, that's when it starts to become, it starts to become one of these issues that people get. They think, well, this is a nice article of clothing. Why would I need a collar? I don't look bad. And in some of those circumstances, they're right, they look fine, but they're not in compliance with the dress code. That's where it's an issue.
Isn't it collared shirts and khakis that usually put you in the mentality that you're here to work, you're here to do this?
Well, that's a very good point, and that's another part of